Hi, and welcome back to Reading Tea Leaves. I am John Ross, and this is where I take a look at one of your stocks and I run it through my brew of technical, sentiment, and macroeconomic tea leaves, so I can tell you what I think of the stock and where I think it's headed. I also share with you part of my morning routine, my workday, what type of tea I'm drinking, and today I'm digging back into pretty much my all-time favorite tea. I'll tell you about that in a minute. First, today's stock. I can't recall exactly who requested taking a look at this stock, but it's Rio Tinto Group. So if you do deserve credit for that request, I apologize for not being able to dig that up. But hey, I'm bringing this to you today because it is my trading system gave me a sell alert on the stock. In fact, I've recommended a specific trade to subscribers of my Apex Profit Alert trading service. So I want to just kind of give you guys a freebie idea here of one that is a very valid trade setup right now. That stock, Rio Tinto Group, it's a just massive materials, commodities, minerals stock, producer, processor, all kinds of things, aluminum, alumina, copper, zinc, silver, gold, and a whole lot more, diamonds even, and even more than that. So big company based in the UK, and it's a stock I've followed for a long time, seeing as I prefer focusing on natural resources, basic materials, and commodity stocks. So I'm going to jump into that chart just a minute. Let me remind you, if you like reading tea leaves, if you like the analysis we bring, the trade ideas we bring to you, make sure you hit the like button, a little thumbs up, the subscribe button so you can come back and find us whenever you're looking for new content, new ideas. Hit the notification bell, and that means you'll get notified every time we upload new content to this channel. So we would love that, love to even hear from you with a comment or something as well. All right, with that said, my favorite tea all time, just go to, it's called Pu'erh Mini Touchas, and Pu'erh is a fermented tea. It's not really a black tea, but it's a dark tea. It's a class of all its own. And the Toucha is just this little, it comes packed in a little pod. This is an individual sized pod. I'll show it to you right here. It comes wrapped up, and when they ferment Pu'erh over time, it's kind of like a fine wine that improves with age. And so they think of the fermenting process almost like a compost pile, where you're turning it and you're allowing it to heat up as the leaves process and oxidize and do all that stuff that happens as organic material is fermenting. So you can get them in the big fat packed cakes that you just chip off a little bit when you're ready to make yourself a cup of tea. I like this find here. Again, I can drink it any time of the day. There is some caffeine, so if you're drinking it at night, know that if you're super sensitive to caffeine, you might want to just kind of take it easy there. However, one of the many health benefits that come from this fermented Pu'erh tea is that it helps with sleep, and that because it kind of taps into, reduces anxiety a little bit. Now, I'm not going to dive into that. We'll include a link to a whole list of health benefits in the comments below this video. But let me just read them off to you real quick. Pu'erh, it's an antioxidant, an antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, prevent photoaging, reduce toxins in the body, help aid in digestion, reduce stress, improve sleep quality, lower cholesterol, blood sugar, help with weight loss, bone health, heart disease, even anti-cancerous properties. So again, you can read through that. These are just kind of many of the things that a lot of the studies are suggesting Pu'erh can help with on a health benefit basis. But anyway, Pu'erh tea, very unique tea, something that has a kind of a musty smell. So some people might need to kind of acquire that taste, but I would highly recommend a nice quality Pu'erh tea. So drink up. Now, let's get to this chart of Rio Tinto Group. Now, my system generated a sell signal on Rio Tinto, and I'll explain a little bit about that sell signal in just a second, but let's look at the price chart here. This chart goes back to November of last year and really kind of shows how the stock began to roll over and took a dive in the first quarter of this year, along with the broader market. Now, when we get some type of impulse move like that, and then we see some type of retracement or correction, I tend to look for a third wave that extends that original move. So looking for a third wave to take RIO's stock price lower from here, and going to use that initial sell-off, that initial downtrend, to measure where a proper target might come into play ultimately for Rio Tinto here. So I'm going to use an extension measurement tool, and I'm going to draw down to where I've marked the A wave and up to where I've marked the B wave, and that gives me an idea where that C wave could really finish up. Now, we don't have to get all the way to that C wave. We could see some type of test of the low, which is my initial target here. But to give you a sense of what type of move we would, or decline we'd see if we start pushing towards these targets, let me just draw in a little trend line here. If we break to test the low, we could see Rio Tinto fall 17% in just a matter of days, maybe a few short weeks. If it gets through the low, breaks down to a 61.8% extension, which is a common sort of step towards that 100% extension that I look for, that'd be a 23% decline in the stock. And that would mean Rio falls to somewhere around $34.25 per share. Now, probably see some kind of support and some sideways action, some choppiness come into play between that low and that $34.25 level as Rio kind of works itself out and works itself along, and investors are processing the new price action. But ultimately, if that C wave proves to be an accurate target, we could see a 43% decline in the price of Rio by the middle of June, even that quickly. So those are the amps I like to look at, the apex movement patterns that help give me a kind of context in which to make trading decisions. So a very crucial foundational piece of my system. Now, as far as when it comes time to actually pulling the trigger on new trades, that's when I look to a momentum indicator I've developed, and I call it the early bar. It's a couple momentum trend indicators kind of mishmashed together that help pinpoint when turning points are going to happen in a stock's trend. So you can see there I've noted the sell signal on the indicator across the bottom of this chart, and you'll see that the black positive bars have turned to red, or negative bars, suggesting that the upside momentum, the direction has turned here, and we should be looking for a period of time when this stock sells off. It does not suggest any certain magnitude or amplitude to the sell-off, but it does give us a timing reference or reference point with which we can enter into a new trade and have some degree of confidence in expecting the near-term direction to go in our favor. So a little bit about what triggers these signals, and when I see a sell signal like this, when these black bars turn to red, I call that a buy on red, because in my Apex Profit Alert, I recommend using put options to play a stock when it's declining. Put options are a derivative of a stock, and they essentially go up in value as the stock price falls in value. So when we have a trade set up like this on Rio, we can buy put options, and those put options are going to go up as Rio drops to our targets. And not only do put options give us an easy way to play the downside without having to kind of go through the process of selling short a stock, but they also provide some leverage, which basically means we can get in with a relatively smaller amount of capital into some put options, but we get leverage that really magnify the amount of returns we can earn over a given time frame. So let's just say Rio Tinto falls to test its low, and so we see somewhere around a 17% decline in the next couple of weeks. That 17% decline could actually be, for us trading put options, something more like 170% gain over that same amount of time. So that kind of shows you the leverage and the how put options and even call options, if we were playing in the other direction, how this strategy and that vehicle allows us to really ramp up our earning potential. So that's what I'm looking at with Rio. You also now have, you also know my favorite tea, Pu'erh. And hey, let us know what you think. If you have had Pu'erh, let us know if you like it. Let us know if you're going to try it. And of course, keep sending those tea recommendations. Keep sending us the stock recommendations. We got lots of good ones that we're looking forward to reviewing and running through the tea leaves in the weeks that are ahead. And of course, hit the likes, the subscribes, the notification bell, and the comments to let us know what's going on, what you think, what you like, and what you don't like. So thank you so much for listening, for watching. Until next week, we'll talk soon.